Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Stop by Sherwin-Williams and get 30% off select paints and stains May 2nd through the 12th. It's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Refresh your home inside and out with colors that make every space feel brand new. From cozy interiors to stunning exteriors, we've got the perfect shade for your next project. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing basketball.
Here's our hosts, Steve Collins, and Bill Flitter.
Coaches, welcome to another episode of Coaching Youth Hoops. I am your host, Coach Bill Flitter. You can see this handsome gentleman next to me is not Steve Collins. Today we have a guest on the podcast from Game Changer, Seth Goodlaxon. Seth, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much. Really appreciate you having me on.
And thanks for classing it up a little bit too. They're used to seeing Steve and I, and you're all professional. I love it.
Very, very happy to bring some prestige here. No problem.
We'll get a couple extra views. I love it. All right. So, Seth, we are going to be diving into a new feature of Game Changer. Now, we talk about Game Changer a lot on this program, and coaches, go check it out at gc.com/coaching youth hoops. But we have, I don't even have to talk about it. I can just sit back, ask a few questions, and we got the guy from Game Changer today to tell you all of the features, and especially the new feature called Film Room. So Seth, maybe just start there. Like, where did this, well, first off, what is it? What is Film Room, and how did it come about?
Sure, absolutely. So Film Room in a nutshell, and I'll show you all the details here in a little bit, but in a nutshell, Film Room is designed to help coaches at the youth level really dive into film review post-game. We know that there's so much value in looking at content. There's so much value in looking at your kids and your team, how they perform, where they're doing well, where you need to add some extra reps in their practice schedule, things like this. But film review is really challenging, especially at this youth level where you may not have all the resources certainly that colleges and beyond have. You may not even have all the resources that some of these bigger high schools have. So when we talk to coaches, universally, they tell us, they want to do this. They want to be looking at film. They want to be pulling in this information and helping their team. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle because you either don't have the resources or the people or the tools necessary to complete this job. And so that's really where Film Room came from. Film Room came from our desire to help coaches do what we know is an extremely powerful and extremely valuable coaching activity, which is looking at film, helping your team get better, game over game, practice over practice. And we wanted to make sure that we could bring that to the youth basketball market and make sure that it wasn't blocked away behind, high budgets, high resources, et cetera. We want everybody to be able to have this, no matter what type of team you have, no matter how old they are. We want you to be able to look at film and help your team get better.
Yeah. And how will Film Room help with that specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So Film Room, at its heart, Film Room lets you quickly navigate through your video, call out specific moments, create clips, create these little highlights, and then add notes and commentary to it. So it's very flexible. If you as a coach want to go in and look at, all your press breaks, for example, you can navigate through the film, you can find that, you can create a moment, you can create a little note that says, hey, in this instance, we did a great job, here's what was going well. Or maybe in this instance, we missed the mark and we got smothered, and here's what we need to work on for next time. And once you've got this set of what we call moments, these set of kind of clips with notes, you're able to share that either with your fellow team staff, you're able to share that with the players, or depending on their ages, with their families. And that way we can really distribute these insights that you have as a coach more easily and more efficiently. The name of the game here is efficiency, right? Reviewing film is very time intensive, or it can be. It can be a lengthy process. And so the more we can give you tools to do that as efficiently as possible, as quickly as possible, I feel like that's where we're really creating some good value here.
Yeah, and one of the things I know, just in general that Game Changer does is, as a youth coach, you don't have a staff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they take care of that stats portion. I can literally put up a camera, set it, forget it, take it down at the end of the game, and I'll have stats by the end of the game. Now, what you're telling me is I can go into that film that I just created and review it, make notes, essentially, right?
You can mark it up, yeah.
Mark it up. Yep. Okay. Does it also do, maybe I misunderstood this, does it also do like some light editing prior to me seeing it?
Absolutely. So one of the options that we give you, and this is an optional workflow, but I think it's really powerful, and I can show you this as well in just a moment.
Yeah. Okay.
We've put in what we call downtime detection filtering. So you are able to kind of automatically have the video player skip any moment in the film in which basketball isn't actually being played. This could be, halftime or quarter breaks. This could be timeouts or whatever else it is. Even if it's just a lengthy transition between, an out of bounds and getting it back in, whatever. We're able to automatically skip all these moments of the tape where there's nothing interesting going on. There's nothing you can learn from watching, people milling around at halftime. We don't want to make you go through that part of the video. So we're going to skip all that stuff on your behalf. Now, that is optional, of course. If there's something in there that you did want to see, you can still get to it. But that's part of, like I said, this efficiency that we're trying to drive is making sure that you're able to focus just on the parts of the tape that matter. And certainly if basketball isn't being played, there's probably nothing there for you as a coach. So we're going to let you skip that automatically.
What about timeouts?
So timeouts, yeah, absolutely. If there's no basketball being played, now we have some limits, like, we're not going down to, there's a 2-second gap, let's skip that. There are, some limits because we don't want it to over-index on this type of thing. But yeah, timeouts, anything where there's a delay in play, we'll skip over that. And
it's being detected by AI when there's no movement on the court of the players. Is that correct?
Well, it's not just no movement. To be frank, exactly how it works is for smarter people than me to describe to you. But what I can say is it's when basketball isn't being played, and we have a really brilliant computer vision team who's put together this piece of work for us. They're the same team that put together our AutoStream product last year, for example, that we came out with. Really, really amazing group of engineers. And they've built a model that can understand sort of what basketball being played looks like, and it can skip this. So even if there are people on the court, if they're not playing the game, we don't need to focus on that. Now, one thing I do want to clarify is this only does come if you stream the game from an iOS device. At the moment, that is coming from an iOS device only, but it doesn't matter which device you watch it on. So on the post-game side, you can watch on anything you like. This is going to work. When you're live streaming, though, that feature comes into play when it was shot from an iPhone or an iPad.
Okay, that makes sense. So just to clarify that point, if I am recording a game, I should record it on iOS in order to get this feature.
Just to get the downtime piece. All of Film Room is available for everybody. It's no matter what you're using, no matter what you're doing.
Okay.
So Film Room itself is available for all of our users, no matter your device. The downtime filtering, that comes from when you're live streaming on an iOS device for now. Hopefully we can expand that, but at the moment, that's where it is.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. All right. So you want to dive into the demo, and if you're listening, go to our YouTube channel. at Basketball Practice Plans to find the interview here so you can see the demo that Seth is going to do for us right now. And maybe we can just also, as you explain it, is talk a little bit more colorful about what we're showing, at least maybe so the coaches can have a visual if they're just listening.
I will do my very best to make it compelling, whether you're watching the video or not. Let's see how well
Awesome.
I do. So I'll go ahead and share my screen from my phone, and we'll go ahead and launch the Game Changer app. So I'm going to use this team here. They're a great team. They've given us permission to show some of their content, which I really appreciate.
So this is an actual team, not just a demo.
This
awesome.
This is a real team who has been kind enough to volunteer to let me show their games a little bit to people such as yourself. So we're going to dive into one of the games right now. Let's go ahead and look at this Bramford game, for example. So right now we are in the film room experience here, and we can quickly navigate through the tape. And right now I'm not using downtime filtering. I'm doing that on purpose for the moment. So we can quickly scroll through the tape, and we can see, how the score is advancing. We can see what's going on in the game here. And let's go to a moment I found earlier. Let's go to this moment here, right around 6:30, and we're going to see the Orangemen here have a really good press. They have a really good press. It pushes into the corner, and then they're able to intercept right at the midway line and go. And they're able to complete that turnover from a really nice aggressive press. So if that's a moment that matters to me as a coach, I can go to that timestamp. I can hit mark game moment, and now I'm here. I'm going to say, well, this is right where it was. So I'm going to size my clip to be the parts of the game that matter the most to me. And I'm going to add in a little note here that says, great job on the press, nice turnover. And this is a positive comment, a nice little positive comment here that says, here's something that we're doing well. I could, for example, look at this other thing I saw earlier. Let's go ahead and scroll right around here. We'll play the video from here, and we can see that right around the 10:15 mark, so a few seconds from here. So they just gave up 2 points, and now they are being subject to a press themselves. They got really bad tunnel vision here, and rather than hitting their open man on the wing, they hit the man right in center and passed it directly to their opponent. So that's obviously not what we want to do. So we're just going to make another moment here. We're going to say, check for the open man. You had options. And that's another moment there. At that point, we've got 2 moments. We can do this for the whole game. We can do this for everything. As we scroll through, we can find all this content and all these nice, insightful moments. And then here from this Moments tab, it'll show us just these clips and just these highlights of the stuff that I called out. Yeah. So now that I've got this long list, potentially, of insightful comments from me as a coach and things that I want to share with my team, I can hit this triple dot button here, and I can share that out. And I can share that out to whoever is appropriate to share it with, whether it's the player themselves or their family, whether it's my fellow staff or an assistant, things like that. Of course, because we're doing a live demo, there's always some type of challenge in a live demo, and so now my screen is ticking along like this. There's always something going to happen in a live demo, but here it is. Right. Now we can share that out to whoever we want to share it with.
So does that, and if I could just stop you right there and ask a few questions. So specifically on the sharing piece, I saw what popped up is your options to share it. It doesn't have to be, it's not just people within my team.
No, it is not just people within your team. And so the way Film Room works right now is this is a feature that is limited to people with the staff role at Game Changer. So you have to be staff on your team to be able to do this, because we don't necessarily want to put coaches in a position where they can't be as honest as they want to be when taking notes, right? And sometimes when you're taking critical notes, you want to be critical, and sometimes you might not want everybody associated with the team to come in here and see what your private thoughts are on it. So this is limited to staff only at the moment.
Okay.
But then when they share it, they can share it with whoever they feel is the right person to share it to. Again, whether that's their colleagues, whether it's the team directly, things like this. And you'll also be able to take, this playlist now. You can take this playlist of moments to your next practice, and you can either show this via the app or via your iPad or things like that. You can show it to the whole team at once. You can share these moments to specific individuals based on your own personal preferences.
Okay. And if we can just like step out of film room for a second and talk about just the regular Game Changer app. So just take a simple, I score, I'm number 15. I score. It's already recording that I scored.
Yeah. And correct. So if we let's go to that same game.
And here's what I'm trying to distinguish between and make a clear distinguishment between the film room and what you already have with the Game Changer app. Yeah. So
with the Game Changer app, when someone has scored the game, right? If you are going to keep track of your score via the Game Changer interface, at the end of the game, you'll have quite a lot available to you. And let me walk you through it. So right now, here, you've got a box score with all your high-level stats here and then down to the individual player breakdown. And this is for each player, all their stats. There's a play-by-play you can walk through as well if you want to see it more sequentially. There is also what people really tend to like is each game creates a recap article for every scored game. So you'll generate automatically generate this recap article, which you can then share out with whoever might want to see it, your friends, your family, your loved ones who maybe are out of state. I've seen some people even send these to their local town newspapers and say, hey, you should publish this.
Yeah.
And then we also generate video based on who was recording the video, and clips depending on how the game was scored. Will also generate highlight clips automatically for each of your players, and so that is all without Film Room. Film Room is just this annotation tool that then, like I said, lets you as a coach jump in and then add these moments and see whatever other coaching insights that you want to add. The last thing I do want to show you, and well, I can show you lots of other things depending on what you prefer, Bill, but the other thing I did want to show you is, like I said, I wanted to look at this downtime piece because I'm really excited about it.
Okay.
So we're going to look at a different video, and we're going to look at this one because this has got a good downtime moment. And you'll notice right away, we're starting the video here at the 4-minute mark. And the reason we're starting the video at the 4-minute mark is because this is when the tip-off happens. Everything that happened before this was just people milling around. And I can navigate into this and show you because you asked, is it just when there's nobody on the court? No, there's people on the court right now. But our system was smart enough to recognize that this wasn't basketball being played, and so it skipped it. And it brought us right to the opening tip-off. And you'll see this again in these moments here. Let me just navigate a little bit forward. And we'll see as we get into this moment here, this play is just going to finish up. And as it finishes up, a timeout was called. So we skip that point, and then we go right to when the guy's at the stripe taking his shots. We don't need you to have to wade through all these downtime moments that are unimportant to you. Now, we're also not going to hide them from you. So if you do want to navigate into that, or if you want to turn off the filter, for example, that's certainly your prerogative. And we're giving you the flexibility to do either way. But we think that by kind of cutting out all that downtime, we're going to save you quite a lot of time as you're reviewing these game footage. Especially if you look at this, this is an 1-and-7-minute video. Well, I believe, I don't know this for certain, but I believe this is 8-minute quarters, right? So if we're at 8-minute quarters, that's 32 minutes of basketball being played, but it's an 1-and-7 of a video. So there's a lot of content in here that we can help you get rid of, so you can be watching your film as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I like that. Yeah, it's a nice little feature, and the fact that it's there if I want to see it, or if I'm like, hey, because one of the questions I had in the back of my mind is, especially for the young players, how are you conducting yourself on the bench during a timeout?
Sure.
Right. Sure. Now I can see it if I want it, but if it's not necessary right now, I can also skip it with Film Room.
Absolutely.
Because we want to create teachable moments as much as we can. That's
gameplay. A really good point, because it's not my job to tell a coach how to coach. I'm sure that every one of these coaches know how to be a coach better than I do. I just want to give them the tools they need to do as good a job as possible. And so if they just like you said, if there's value in seeing bench behavior, whether it's during play or not, right? If people are causing trouble on the bench, we want to give them a reminder that says, "Hey, there's a game going on right now. We have to conduct ourselves accordingly." And because of that, and because there are so many different circumstances that might arise that cause each specific coach to want to look at film a little bit differently than the other coaches. I want to give you as flexible a tool as possible so it can reflect the workflow that you really want as a coach.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Okay, recap where we've been. I love the simplicity of it. I'm recording my game. I got all the regular stats I've always had with Game Changer. It's taking, doing highlights, etc. for every player. Then I can go in post game, mark it up however I want, take notes, etc. Send those notes out to my staff or even players that I want to share something with.
Absolutely.
Okay, so simple enough. All right, where does it go from here? Because my mind is racing. Is like, oh, if you had this and this, and then knowing you guys, knowing how smart you guys are, and a bunch of a brain sitting around the table, thinking, oh, we could do this, but we got to keep it simple. A lot of coaches they're a one man, one woman show. So, right.
So there is a lot that I want to do here, and that not just me. There's a lot of people who care very much about the post game experience right now at Game Changer. And what we're looking at is, again, it's all a matter of efficiency. It's all, how do we get you to the moments that matter to you as quickly as possible? So some of this is, potentially with high tech stuff. Potentially, what else can we do with our computer vision team to give you content quickly and as quickly as possible? But some of this is not as high tech as that. Some of this is just, how do we merge our workflows to make sure that if you want to reference stats at the same time that you're looking at video, how do I make sure that you've got that at your fingertips without overwhelming your experience, right? Because if I give you the full fire hose of information, that's probably not any better for you. So, some of that is more workflow based, where we really want to talk to coaches. We want to learn from these coaches. We want to see what's going on this winter. And we want to make this workflow as cohesive as possible, no matter what you want to do. If you've got stats, how can I let you reference those stats when you're looking at film? If you're looking at film and you don't have stats, how can I let you maybe add some in there while you're looking at the film? This should be a process where every bit of coverage can be informed by every other bit of coverage. Because it's not like, as a coach, you don't want to let me go look at stats and just look at stats, and then later let me look at video and just think about video and never bridge the gap. That doesn't make sense for me for the future of where we want to be. And so how do we bridge that gap in a way that can be effective without being overwhelming? I think that is a big part of what we want to look at for our next phases of development.
And can you dive? I'm going to go back to just the regular Game Changer app and bring it forward. But can you again, if someone's hearing and learning about Game Changer for the first time, I want to dive a little bit deeper into one subject area. Do I actually need a parent or a coach to, as I'm filming the game, to mark the game up, or what? Well, I'll just ask it that way.
Sure. So I think it depends on what. And
this is in game, just to be clear, in game. Yeah.
And a little bit depends on what you mean by need, right? So at minimum, especially because we've got our auto stream technology, and let me pause for a second and talk about that in case your listeners aren't fully aware. We have another computer vision feature in our product where, if you're filming a game, if you're live streaming a game.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
You can set up your camera, your phone, on a tripod and you can walk away from it, and our auto stream feature will pan back and forth and follow the action
Mhm.
up and down the court on your behalf.
Which is absolutely amazing. We use it, and yeah, we talk about it all the time. It's
Yeah,
great.
I'm absolutely in love with it. Again, that team of engineers are an
They're
amazing
incredible.
team.
I mean, from what they have done and
Yeah,
what you get is just it's mind-boggling.
it's absolutely fantastic. And so, at minimum, you set up your camera, you walk away from it, and then after the game, you can review that footage and you can start pulling out whatever coaching insights you like. Now, if you want a more robust set of coverage to look at post game, then you will have someone score the game within Game Changer, and you can do that fairly minimally, where you're just adding basic stats. You can do that fairly comprehensively, where you're keeping track of every substitution and every stat and every play. And some of that depends on your own tastes and your own what you want to get out of it. Again,
Yeah.
I don't. I want to have a tool that is flexible enough to track what you want it to track, without insisting that you track things that you don't care about. And so to get the scores, to get some of those box score things, the other
Hmm.
stats that I showed you there, that would have to be scoring data would have to be added by either a assistant or a parent. We see a lot of parents volunteering to do this. They really like using the app. Now, long term, I think it's a really interesting question. Long term, how can we take more of that work away? I don't have a whole lot of very specific answers to give you today, but I can tell you it's a problem we are very aware of, that live capture of stats, if you want to go really in depth, that can be a challenge. And so we want to help
Hmm.
there as well. Now, what of that happens live? What of that happens post game? Those are some very interesting questions that we're grappling with right now. But we're very aware that live scorekeeping uh, can be time consuming, and we want to make that as easy as possible. I think Game Changer's scoring system right now has already done a ton to make it easier, has already done a ton to make it smoother and something that you can really give anybody the device and have them be effective. But I'm always interested in how I can take more work away, and make it our responsibility as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the key just moving forward. But I will echo what you said, and it's my teams which again, knock on wood, continues. I have people that or parents that want to do the film and want to
Mhm.
do the the edit or the scoring and everything else that goes along with the app, because they like to see their surprise at the data at the end and how
Mhm.
quickly everything comes. I've gone, I will sit post game in the gym, right, and say,
Mhm.
oh, well, who scored the most points or who had the most rebounds or whatever stats important to me, and it's there, right?
Absolutely.
It's absolutely amazing. And now coming from I'm a former high school coach. I used Huddle
Mhm.
prior.
Sure.
A lot of that stuff is automated, and that's where I think you guys are you know newer, and I am sure that some of what they have, you'll have. But one of the things that I love, because I've now used both, is the simplicity of what Game Changer offers. I'm in this film room, just like, another notch up. It's simple, right? And like you said, you're giving me the tools and I can do with it what I want. You're not trying
Yeah,
to
and
coach me and tell me what I need to do.
I think some of the ways we're trying to solve this problem, I think, are really important, because you can do this with your own device. You don't have to have equipment installed in your gym. You
Yeah,
can
that's a
do this
really good point.
on,
Yeah.
your away games, where even if you have equipment installed in your gym, you might not at the opponent gym.
Hmm.
Um, and really, really critically, this is a free tool for coaches and teams. It is absolutely free for coaches and teams, and that's really important to us. And I think that's a really important distinction. There are lots of good products out there,
Hmm.
including the ones you mentioned. But what we do, I think, is really, really valuable because we allow you to get access to such power. We allow you to get access to such high quality tooling, without trying to figure out how you're going to go to your boosters or whatever it is you're going to do to fund it. And I think that's a really important part of the game changer experience.
And you are 100% correct. I remember turning those invoices in and praying that they were going to get paid,
Hmm.
right? And it is a big deal, and that's why I'm so amazed about what you guys do for free.
Yeah.
It's
It,
it's stunning.
it's really nice. It's really nice to be able to be completely focused on creating value for those coaches. That's my whole
Hmm.
job. My whole job is to make a coach say, how could I possibly be a coach without using Game Changer? Right? That's the thing I want more than anything. And that's the only motivating factor we have on my team is how can we make this something that they couldn't think of working without? And that's really important. We talk about it a lot.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, I think well, I should say, in addition to that, if we think about film, Steve and I always say on the podcast, and coaches have heard this, is like film don't lie, right?
Hmm.
And obviously there's, they're kids, and it can be used as a tool to help them build their build their basketball IQ and get a little bit better.
Absolutely.
It and that's, I mean, that's what we should all be after, is that. And this takes it to another level. It's not just film, it's smart, intelligent. It's giving me feedback, and I can create additional feedback with Film Room. Um, or, let's take the other side where you have a discrepancy or an argument with the parent that comes
Hmm.
up, and now you can show film. And you can say, these, I mean, right, what's the number one? Well, why isn't my son or daughter playing a little bit more? Well,
Yep.
I've used it that way. Well, look, here's the total minutes that they've played in a game, right? Or why did you take them out? Well, because they've made this mistake 3 times in a row. I needed to pull them out to correct them on that.
Hmm.
Or they continue to make these mistakes. So we needed to correct it.
And this is one of the things I actually like about the way we've got our sharing set up is, sometimes giving that critical advice back can be pretty sensitive.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the way we've got this set up, you can share this directly one-on-one with a player. You can share this directly one-on-one with a parent. You don't have to necessarily call somebody out on the practice floor at your next practice, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, if your team as a team is doing something that we want to remind the whole team of how to get better, that's different. But if you want to give specific critical advice to one of your players, you can use this to do that in a way that doesn't necessarily put people on the spot or make them defensive. You can do it in a way that is really supportive and constructive. And I think that's a big deal for, especially with these kids, we want to make sure that they stay motivated. We want to make sure that you're not accidentally getting into a fight with a parent, which is certainly not productive for anybody. And
Right.
so I think you can do this really successfully with Film Room.
Yeah, no, and it looks like you can, and it's just the right. I mean, and again, I know it's, you guys are even going to get better and better as things go on, but even now, it's like pretty easy to use, and that's what I love. It's like the easy. I don't have a lot of time, right? In addition
Yeah.
to having a family, full-time job, coaching, practice planning, all of that other stuff. So you guys have really streamlined the process of giving me feedback, giving my team feedback with minimal effort. And that's what I
And that's
love.
that's the point, right? I think coaches are already giving 100% of their effort.
Right.
I can't give a coach a tool and say all you have to do is work a little bit harder and here's all the extra value you're going to get. They're
Yeah.
working as hard as they possibly can. I know they are. It is a tough job and it requires a lot of yourself to be successful. And so, we have to think about how do we provide features that take work away, as opposed to give more work to, right? And that's what we're
Yeah.
doing with
Yeah.
these efficiency, with removing downtime, with being able to share this content, etc. Is we're taking a job that the coaches already want to do, but maybe it's too time intensive for them to do. Well, how can we make it less time intensive? Or they're already doing, but if we can save them more time here in reviewing film, that might give them more time back to do some other tasks that they've been avoiding. It's all, time. It's a zero sum game with time. If you're putting effort into one thing, you can't put that same effort somewhere else. So how can I get it to be as efficient as possible for you when you're reviewing tape, so you can be more effective?
Yeah, no, and and again, I know I appreciate that, and I know coaches out there appreciate that too. One area I do want to talk about though, because I know there's going to be questions that come up. So we talked about that Game Changer is free, right? Again, for those who haven't tried Game Changer, go to gc.com/coaching youth hoops. You're not a nonprofit, Seth, so how does Game Changer make money?
Sure. I mean, that's a fair question to ask. We have subscription models for fans and families based on some of the content that they might want to unlock. So we are free for teams, and we absolutely will, or for teams and staff, and we will remain free for coaches. There is a free set of features for all users, no matter what. You can do, your team messaging, you can find your schedules, things like this. We're not going to require your players or your players' families to subscribe to use sort of those most basic and important features. But there are then subscriptions at two different tiers that get you access to, live play-by-play, to get access to historic stats, to get access to those recaps that I mentioned, and some of the other high impact features. That is where we have a subscription model for fans and families to be able to have access to that. And that's all explained really well, I think, and pretty thoroughly on the gc.com page as well for people who are interested.
Perfect. Yeah. And tell me about, okay, what's that one question that your team is asking specifically about Film Room right now that you're trying to figure out? Or just like, do we do this? Do we not do this? How do we make this better? What is that one tough question?
That's a really good question. This is that one tough question. This one right here. No, I think, not to be too repetitive, I apologize if I am, but the tough question here is, what can we do for coaches? Not what extra bells and whistles can we let them take advantage of, but what can we do for them? What can we offload? What can we take off the coach's plate and say, this is not your responsibility anymore. This is Game Changer's responsibility. Because that's what we really want to be, is this ally, this tool. Right now we're trying to help you. You're not going to have a video coordinator at, the youth level here. Well, we want to be that video coordinator for you, right? You're not going to have a dedicated camera person. Well, with AutoStream, we want to be that person for you. So what's the next job? What's the next job that we can say, this isn't your problem anymore, coach. This is Game Changer's problem. I think a lot of that's going to be very focused in this post-game film review workflow, right? Like I said, how can we help you get access to the stats you need at the right moment? How can we help you use film to do more powerful outcomes? That's the stuff that concerns me the most.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. No, and I appreciate that. I appreciate your honesty on that as well, because, I know that we're gonna hear some feedback on, okay, it's free now, but you're gonna, probably gonna charge me later when that comes out, or you're gonna come out with some advanced features, and I can't afford that. I mean, so I really appreciate your response, and so far you guys have just been outstanding, and you've lived up to everything that you've said. We've had your CEO on last year, I think it was, and being a business guy myself, and it's kind of the culture is dictated by the CEO, and I can tell it's living through you as well, and that's always amazing to see. And we don't do too many highlight too many products as deep as we do Game Changer, and the reason we do is because we love the app and we see the time savings that it actually does for us coaches and youth coaches, even high school coaches. That's not, this is not just a tool for, if you have a, kindergarten through 8th grade team. This is a tool that can be used in high school as well. Absolutely. And it is just as good as anything else on the market. Now, again, if you need stats at that youth level, you're going to get those stats. If you want if you wanted to annotate film, you have that ability. You guys just keep on adding to the Game Changer. And again, I can't say how much we appreciate that, and we as the collective coach, all this youth coaches out there, because again, they work hard. and they're trying to do a good job. And they just want to coach, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we can't rest. We've got so much to do. We've got so much that we want to accomplish. So you're going to continue to see us publishing more and more improvements, more and more changes, because we think that we've got a lot that we can offer still. I'm very proud of our product, and I appreciate your compliments. I'm very proud of what we've been able to make so far. But we're going to keep making it better and better and better. And there's a lot, I think, that we can keep providing to this market that is going to be really meaningful. And I'm excited for the future for it.
Yeah, and I'm excited what's next with Film Room. So coaches, go check out Film Room and the Game Changer app at gc.com/coaching youth hoop. Seth, I really appreciate your time today that you've taken to, show us this, and you definitely, your dedication to youth coaches has come through loud and clear. We really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. This was a blast, and I'll come back anytime.
Awesome. Yeah. You better be careful what you say there, because I might have you back on real soon, right? Anytime. You're always welcome, Seth. We always want to know about new tech and new things with Game Changer, so appreciate it.
Yeah, love it. Thank you so much.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.